and Jalen's 2013 NBA Preview.
Welcome to Bill and Jalen's NBA Preview. The teams are starting to get good here, Jalen.
They did.
Denver was good last year.
And I have to point out to everyone, this is Bill Simmons' ranking of teams.
He's trying to distance himself.
I think off the top of my head that the Denver Nuggets should be higher than 13.
All right, well, we're going to argue about it. Here's their fan base mindset heading into the season.
Weed, grass, ganja, joint, doobie, do, chronic, ace, lobo, loco, love boat, bud, buddha, blunt, pot, pat, pin, chiba, 420, and hashish. It's all marijuana.
So this is a PSA, an anti-marijuana PSA from the 1960s or early 70s. Big ramifications in the NBA.
What is marijuana?
What is marijuana, Jalen?
It's legal in Denver.
Well, we're getting to that.
The smoke from this plant causes a brief state of euphoria.
Oh, it's a brief state of euphoria, but then
Permanent insanity.
But then you go to a psychiatric clinic and you start ironing near somebody's head. You eat a lot of popcorn, pizza. Don't get it. Oh no, that's what happens if you smoke too much pot, Jalen.
Wow, that was a public service announcement from the '60s.
Yeah, that was.
Shows how society has changed.
It does. So, with Denver. I don't think they're really going to care whether this team's good or not because they legalized marijuana last year. So we just want to show a PSA. Be careful, Denver. We're looking out for you. Let's see what they did last summer. Ooh. Oh, I don't like the guy they lost. They lost Andre Iguodala. They like Corey Brewer's defense. They lost Masai Ujiri. And they lost internet coolness, which is the tough thing to get back, Jalen. They were the internet's team last year.
Well,
People love the way they're put together. So smart. Oh, look at, they didn't have a high lottery pick. They beat the system. They put together this team. That's gone.
You're overlooking this team, Bill.
Okay. Tell me.
They should be ranked higher than 13.
Well, look at the guys. They added J.J. Hickson, Mozgov. They traded Costa Koufos for. And then they added Randy Foye, Nate Robinson, and Darrell Arthur.
I don't like losing Andre Iguodala as a shooting guard that can defend twos and ones in certain lineups. And as a ball handler, and a versatile player. But I like how I think they parlayed his salary into more players. I really like J.J. Hickson, adding him up front with certain lineups. If you get Gallinari back healthy with Wilson Chandler and JaVale McGee to go with Mozgov, that's an imposing front line.
Let's see the rotation.
I think you're really underestimating what this Denver team is going to do this year, if it's healthy.
Well, here's the thing. Every year in the NBA and in the NFL and all these other sports, teams that look good going into the season really aren't good, but nobody realizes it yet. And then it goes the other way sometimes. Sneaky teams climb up. I think Denver is going to be this year's team that could drop out. And no George Karl. They lost their two best defensive players from last year, Iguodala and Corey Brewer. Who's the good defensive player in that starting lineup? By the way, Gallinari doesn't come back until midseason at least.
Well, a possession isn't over till you grab the rebound.
Right.
And nobody contests, gives up his body, and rebounds the basketball and plays with effort more so than Kenneth Faried, the manimal.
Not a good defensive player, though.
Not at the power forward position, not on ball.
You play him and McGee together, and all the advanced metrics back this up. Those guys are bad defensively together. It's a bad combination.
Playing in Denver, and I got drafted by the Nuggets, one of the things that you always try to do is take advantage of the altitude.
And they're doing that. They're going to be up and down. J.J. Hickson is a worse defensive player than either of those guys. Arguably one of the 5 or 6 worst defensive bigs in the league. So now every defensive player I have in a big position on this team is below average. And I include you, JaVale McGee. How are you going to play Nate Robinson, Andre Miller, and Ty Lawson together?
You're not. Somebody's not going to.
Why is Nate Robinson on this team? I like Nate Robinson. So he's not going to play. Now he's unhappy. Or Miller's not going to play, and he's going to be unhappy. You got JaVale McGee, who's not exactly Mr. Stability. You have J.J. Hickson, who's been on losing teams his whole career. You have Faried, who everybody says is a little dicey behind the scenes.
But I think they've accumulated the kind of assets that put them in a position to actually make a trade.
Well, that brings us to Clairvoyant Bill. Let's jump the gun for Clairvoyant Bill. Clairvoyant Bill really wants to be involved all of a sudden. Clairvoyant Bill has some ideas. Clairvoyant Bill has a very sneaking suspicion. Sneaky suspicion or sneaky suspicion?
You say sneaky and suspicion, I got to pick the bat back up.
Sneaking or sneaky? Whatever. Kenneth Faried is going to end up in trade rumors. It's going to happen. Kenneth Faried might actually get traded. Actually, Clairvoyant Bill believes Kenneth Faried will get traded before February.
If you're Denver, you cannot trade Kenneth Faried. He's your more popular player. He's one of the hardest playing players in the NBA.
Are you arguing with Clairvoyant Bill?
Yes. You can't make that move. The fan base will not be happy with you.
Hey, this is the first time you've directly challenged Clairvoyant Bill like this.
He's wrong.
That Faried conversation brings us to Zach Lowe's sneaky big question, which is, how does Brian Shaw divide the big man minutes? So they have JaVale McGee, they have Kenneth Faried, who cannot play together defensively unless you want to keep losing. They have Mozgov, and then they have, who's the fourth guy? There's one other guy.
You're going to play.
Darrell Arthur.
Right, Darrell Arthur.
You'd think their best scenario would be small ball, right?
They will play small ball.
But it's hard to play small ball because then you have to play Faried at center, and he's not a center.
They found ways to get away with playing them center last year in the West because there aren't a lot of centers that scored a basketball in the West.
Hickson. We forgot J.J. Hickson.
And J.J. Hickson.
They just paid J.J. Hickson $60 million. So now there's 5 guys.
JaVale McGee is the key. You need JaVale McGee to elevate his game. You got to rely on JaVale McGee.
Well, it's funny you brought him up because the Triangle has some opinions on him. The Triangle loves the Denver Nuggets because this is JaVale's team now.
There are 30 NBA franchises. My boy Boogie got one.
And now JaVale McGee has one.
And my guy JaVale got one.
If there was footage of JaVale McGee's mom kissing Dr. J in the mouth, would you want to see it?
No.
Well, you're going to see it anyway. This is from the dunk contest. Pam McGee comes in. She's going to give the judges all kisses on the cheek. That's James Worthy. Brent Barry gets one. Now Doc J comes in. Oh, no, that's Dominique. Uh-oh, Dominique.
I told you I'll be sleeping on the human highlight.
Oh, let's see that again. Because I don't know if that was a miscommunication or she went for the straight smooch. One over there and then dead on.
Has that happened to you before? Have you been encountered by going through those situations where you kiss somebody on the cheek and they kiss you on the lips?
There's miscommunication and yeah. So you think that's what happened here?
No, that's not a miscommunication. That's my point. I was just pointing out the difference. She clearly is a basketball player, a Hall of Fame,
Pam McGee,
championship,
gold
USC
medalist,
caliber player, understands that that's Dr. J, a sex symbol for basketball for her childhood and growing up.
And Dominique, too.
So she was like, if I ever get a chance to kiss Dr. J, I'm going to do it.
I feel the same way.
So good job. That's no different from me being on a movie set and Halle Berry sitting there as one of the judges.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the exact same thing she did. Give everybody else a kiss on the cheek. Then Holly getting the lips. Straight up. She just going to be mad at me. I might get in trouble. She might have to get some sanitizer or something.
Gee, it's just too bad we don't have the technology to animate what this moment would look like. Let's see Goldsberry's graphic. What does Goldsberry have to say about this team? Oh, you love decent floaters.
But the thing I want to see him do better at, he's a blur with the basketball.
Yes.
Him, John Wall, Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, like these are some of the...
Those are the top 5.
Yes, indeed. These are some of the fastest guys with the ball. If you're going to get to the paint that often, those got to become red. Because if those become red, what happens is lanes to drop off to JaVale McGee for a dunk.
Yep.
Lanes to drop off to Kenneth Faried for a dunk. And all of a sudden, your bigs start to feel good about themselves because they're getting those easy ones. Yeah!
Oh, no.
Get the people! What they want.
I like that I have props now. I just felt left out of this segment.
See, the Denver Nuggets are the team that drafted me, so they always have a warm place in my heart.
Oh, you knew
and
it was
as
coming.
you see, I was wearing a red and white draft suit. For those that don't know, Bill.
I love the tie. I mean, I love the suit, but the tie was a shit. You do the tie over again, admit it.
Okay, but here's the thing that people have to know, a backstory, too. One, I had 2 suits. One I was going to wear to the draft, and one I was going to wear to my draft party.
Yeah.
The one I wore to my draft party was lime green, with lime green gaiters.
Okay.
So for you guys that don't know, the night before this draft, I was in my hotel room looking at both of those suits
Right.
trying to decide which one I was going to win.
It was like trying to decide between Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade in the draft or something. You're like, what do I do?
And the other thing, if you look underneath my left eye,
Yeah.
I don't have that spot under my eye normally.
Oh.
And you know what that was?
A shiner?
I got a pimple the night before the draft. And while everybody else was worried about where they were going to get picked,
That's
I
a
was
pimple?
doctoring that bump the entire night.
That's a pimple?
Yes.
That thing is gigantic.
Imagine when I busted what it did to the mirror. I thought I was going to put a hole in the mirror.
This is not what I was expecting from champagne and campaigning in Denver.
I know, but you can't champagne the campaign
With a pimple?
without the NBA money.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
You got to shake David Stern's hand. This is the most important step in the process.
Right. So did you eventually champagne and campaign in Denver?
I eventually champagned the campaign in Denver.
Oh. JaVale McGee and Nick Young, when they played together, did something on the Wizards. And I want to show you that clip.
I told him send them in. Put the send them in. I'm gonna beat you anyway.
It's the Cinnamon Challenge. These guys, for whatever reason, decided to eat cinnamon. A spoonful of it. And then try to swallow it. and then JaVale McGee spat it out. So we thought, why wouldn't Bill and Jalen want to try this? This is such a bad idea. Yeah.
I'm not doing this. I ain't doing this.
Come on.
I am 100% not doing this.
Oh! Well, I'll just do it. I'll do it for both
Yeah,
of
you
us.
just do it. Okay, cool.
All right. No. Oh my God. 24-second prediction clock. Nuggets, go.
Nuggets' prediction is that they are a good regular season team with that roster. I think they're a little better than you think they are, but if they're going to make that championship caliber move, they need to make a trade within their roster.
I don't like the coaching change. I don't like the feeling in my throat right now. I don't like the front office. I don't like the makeup of the team. I don't really know what their identity is now. I know they're going to be young, running, gunning. They're not going to be able to play defense anymore. Iguodala was a big part of what they did last year. I'm not seeing it.
They'll still be a playoff team. Currently, the way they're constituted, they're going to need huge years from either Gallinari or Wilson Chandler. Those have to be game-changing players.
He might not be back until February.
And Ty Lawson has to go and become one of those type of point guards that consistently can bring it.
I think I need another drink of water.
That's the Denver Nuggets.
Well, this was quite a preview. My nose is running. I have cinnamon. We learned about the evils of marijuana use.
You better off eating some marijuana.
And we disagree, too. Next time. Maybe next year for the Denver Nuggets. Until then, number 12 coming up.
I am 100% not doing this.
Oh!